may be, we appreciate you being here to learn about new homes on Cityscape uh, for this Community Leaders Focus Group. This presentation is going to take about 30 minutes, and then we're going to open it up for a facilitated conversation with you. And with that, I see that our Assistant Director of HCDD, Ray Miller, is here. And so he's going to go ahead and kick it off with a few comments about this project.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you for joining us this evening. I do want to say just a little bit of words about what we're trying to do with this particular program. So, the city of Houston is in the midst of acquiring this tract of land located off of 288 that we're about to talk about here. The approach that we're trying to do is take a concerted effort into going specifically into neighborhoods to develop the homes where we believe they are needed. This transaction, as long as others, represents one of several initiatives that we're taking to go specifically to target neighborhoods and to bring the homes where we think they need to be. And through this initiative, what we want to hear from you is while we are setting up this process to, establish a plan, at one point we're going to then, bring a developer in to prepare the homes, but we want to be able to get this feedback. So when we prepare this plan and have this initiative, we find the right partners and we communicate what the community's intentions are, that when these homes are delivered, they are done within a way that is a safe, sustainable, is overall going to be a benefit to the community. So we're excited with this opportunity. We want to hear from you, and excited to hear back. So I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremiah and the team, and look forward to getting started with you. Thank you. Oh, and the council member has joined us as well. Good evening, Council Member Evans Shabazz.
Well, good evening. Thank you so very much. I think I had my time mixed up. I thought it was 6 o'clock. But certainly, I'm so very glad to be here and very excited to bring this opportunity to the community so that they can weigh in. And I really appreciate it. And, I'm always interested in affordable, good housing for people. That to me is the ultimate of importance. And so certainly I do appreciate this team bringing this. And I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this and wait on the community, because it's all about the community and what they would like to see in their environment. So thank you so very, very much.
And I couldn't have said it better, Assistant Director Miller and Councilmember Evan Shabazz. Thank you so much for kicking that off and getting this meeting started on the right foot. So let's just jump right into it, everyone. And again, thank you for joining us tonight, even though it's still very much sunny, as you can see behind me. I apologize for that. So on this slide, just a couple of introductions so you know who the team is. Going through it left to right, our division manager for the large tract division, which is the program team that is putting this project together. To start left to right, our interim division managers, Olivia Christina Bush. My name is Jeremiah Rivera, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator. To the right of my picture is Larry Harris, who is a relationship manager within our team. And you just heard from Assistant Director Ray Miller of HCDD. And so one thing I hope this impresses on everyone is how seriously we're taking this, right? This is all hands on deck within HCDD. And of course, we have the council member here, and she's listening to the feedback we're hearing today and will be hearing throughout this engagement period. So that's, again, leadership is aligned, and this is something we take very seriously. So before we get into the meat of the presentation, just a couple of housekeeping items. Please mute your microphone to help reduce noise during the presentation. Feel free to ask any questions during the chat box. We have a very aggressive agenda, and so any questions we're not able to address immediately within the chat, Olivia will be addressing them. We will send out any responses to those questions in the email that we send out with this recording and with the presentation. So don't hesitate to ask any questions in the chat. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started with today's agenda. So we're going to talk about the project background itself. We understand you've only seen that one email that we've sent out to you 2 or 3 different times. We're going to talk about the development opportunity on Cityscape Avenue. Then we're going to transition to item 2 here, which is our community engagement piece. And that's where we really are going to lean on you as community leaders to help us have an inclusive community engagement process. From there, we're going to go over the key questions we'll be asking of you and the community. And then we're going to go into a virtual breakout session. We'll separate it into different teams, and we're going to ask you how we can best engage the community so we can make sure we have that feedback and that it goes into this development. And speaking of the development, we're going to talk about the project background. This is funded through what is called the Harvey Single Family Development Program. And here you can see there's three main tenets of that program. The first is to create new homeownership opportunities for residents. But beyond that, those home ownership opportunities need to align with the community needs. And so that's one of the reasons why we're here today. So on top of those two things, the home ownership opportunity, the community needs, we need to make sure that these new homes that will be built are also accessible for a variety of incomes. So that third bullet point with the hand hold it out like this, just to be explicit, the development at Cityscape will be a mixed income neighborhood. There will be opportunities for market rate homes and what we are calling attainable home options for low to moderate income home buyers. And we're going to talk about what that means specifically in a slide. So that's just the high overview of the Harvey Single Family Development Program, the program that's this is all aligned under. And I see someone took control of the presentation on accident, so I'm going to just take that back. Give me a second so we'll get back on track. Let's see. Okay. So this is, and forgive my amateur photography for the picture on the left, but this the picture on the right is an overhead view of the Cityscape acquisition that we're pursuing, and it is approximately almost 15 acres, right under at 14.9 acres. It's on the intersection of East Orem and Cityscape Avenue alongside Highway 288. So that's 288 right here and East Orem here and Cityscape Avenue here. And forgive my drawing skills as well. Um, what we envisioned at this site is up to 240 brand new homes that are disaster resilient and energy efficient, with 122 of those what we consider attainable. So what that means specifically is that this program is funded through Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery 2017 funds. In other words, CDBG DR17 funds. This is federal money, and simply stated, this program is funded through federal money that was set aside to help Houston recover from Hurricane Harvey. And to be explicit again, this means that we do have federal and state rules that we abided by as we designed this program. So 51% of the total homes that will be built at this site will be sold to home buyers that were living in Houston on the day of Hurricane Harvey hit and make less than 80% area median income. The other 49% of the homes will be sold at market rate value, whatever that market rate value is at the time that the homes are being sold. And for further context, area median income is what is set by yearly by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. For context, this year a four-person household at that 80% AMI level makes up to $63,350. That number goes up every year, and it differs based on the number of folks within the household, but that should give you a little bit of context of the community that we're targeting with those attainable households. In terms of our development process, the program team took the lead on what we're looking at here on step one. We, again, because this was federal money, there were certain guidelines that we had to follow, including making sure any development was not going to take place in a floodway or in a 100-year floodplain, some other threshold criteria. But bottom line is we looked throughout the city of Houston for suitable sites to build, essentially neighborhoods, and Cityscape Avenue was chosen as a site that was fit all that criteria and of course was available for purchase. And right now we're at step two, literally beginning today, where we gather that community feedback. So that's going to start from today and go through the end of May. And what we're doing, that community feedback is of course very important. And to be clear, the purpose of this is to gather the feedback from yourselves and the community that you're going to help us gather, make it actionable, and include it in step three, what is called an issue to a notice of funding availability to developers, or NOFA for short. What the NOFA does is it sets the guidelines that all developers will have to respond to if they want to participate in this program and develop and sell and market these homes. So the feedback that we get from you and the community will be translated depending on what that looks like. We will put scoring point criteria towards it, and developers will have to respond to it. If a developer can submit a proposal, but they are not likely to win uh, an award here if they do not directly respond to the feedback we collect together over the next few months. So we anticipate that being released in June. So what the next step, number 4, we'll select a developer. Again, this is going to be a competitive process. It's going to be open to any developer who wants to apply, and that's approximately October 2022. And so, in terms of actually building the homes and importantly selling the homes, we're looking at a timeline of late 2023 through 2024. We anticipate, because it is such a large project, that it'll be done in phases, with the last home sold in sometime in mid or earlier 2024. And of course, the usual caveat here that I want to point to: all dates are subject to change. And apologies, I thought that was a laser, and I accidentally covered the language. This is an aggressive timeline, but it's we think that here within HCDD that it's attainable based off our experience in other projects in the Harvey Single Family Development Program. And to transition to why one of the reasons why all of us are here today, talking about the stakeholder engagement plan or the community engagement plan. That starts with the folks that have been identified and are attending here today. You have been identified as the community leaders in the area. And so we need your help with steps 2 and 3 to make sure, again, that this process is as inclusive as possible. So there's a step 2 and 3, but really they're going to happen together. So step 2 is here listed community engagement sessions. We plan on having 3 hybrid virtual slash in-person meetings starting in late April. So people can attend to give their feedback or attend virtually at that same meeting. In addition to that, starting very soon, we're going to open up a website so that folks can leave their feedback in a virtual website, because we understand that, again, with work hours being different for everyone, maybe some folks don't want to attend sessions that are in person because of COVID or any other issues, maybe childcare, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to give their feedback on what this development should look like. So this process will go again through starting today through the end of May. And then June, the team that you saw on slide 2 will be heads down to summarize that feedback and incorporate it into the NOFA. So what that means is in July, late July, early August, we're going to come back into the community. We're going to present what that feedback looked like, summarize it for you, and we'll have an updated timeline of what the development process will look like. So that, in a nutshell, 10,000-foot view is the timeline for moving forward on this project. In terms of the community engagement itself, again, you all will be vital for this, and we talked about this earlier. There's going to be a comment period that will be in person and online, and we'll have that recap session in late July or late June or early July. And this is our outreach strategy. So it's going to be 3 broad bullet points. You guys and ladies, I should say, are all part of number 1, the community partners. And we're going to rely on you to be a partner to get the word out in the community. And signs 2 and 3, signage and social media. I mentioned this is a program that's already been going on. So we've already done a development process and community engagement process in the near north side. So the pictures that you're seeing here are from that event, from that community engagement process. We are currently finalizing specific banners and flyers and yard signs that will be for the Cityscape project that we will distribute throughout the community. So the next time you see this presentation, this is going to be updated for Cityscape. We just, again, finalizing that materials now. And of course, social media. That's another way people get information these days. We're going to ask you all later on, what are the best social media accounts that we should share this on? Will you share our tweets and our Facebook comments and what have you? So this is just, again, 10,000-foot view of what that outreach will look like. And I mentioned earlier we'll have a virtual tool, and that is called Social Pinpoint, which you're seeing a screenshot of here. It's a mobile-friendly website that has bilingual options, a mapping tool, an ability for a survey, and what is called an ideas wall. And so what that looks like here is a map and survey. So during the community engagement, we'll have a demonstration of how the Social Pinpoint tool works. But essentially, you'll be able to use this mapping tool to give a specific feedback on look and feel and things that come to you. So, for example, if there's a color that you want to see the design facade of the homes, you can literally drop a pin on a corner and say, this house should be, oh, the home should look like this house. And you'll be able to drop it on that address and leave your comments and feedback. It has a social component so people can like it or dislike it or also leave their feedback. So it'll help us measure intensity of the comments that we're seeing on the website. In addition to that, there will be a social pinpoint wall. And so that looks pretty similar to a Facebook wall, and it has kind of that same functionality. You can just leave a comment, your feedback and suggestions will be a way to, and you can give thumbs up and thumbs down. Again, another way for the team to be able to synthesize that feedback, see what's most popular, what the community is responding to, and put it into that NOFA. And in terms of what we're going to ask you and the community, so these are going to be guiding questions in our facilitated conversations with the community. As the first question will be designed in context. So when you're coming home, when you're getting nearby, right? Like if you work or you're coming from vacation and you're driving home, you kind of instinctively know, like, hey, I'm almost home. What are those common things as you're driving through the neighborhood that really give your neighborhood that look and feel that lets you know that you're home? So the pictures you're seeing on the left, the detached homes and townhomes, are all homes that are within a mile or two of the Cityscape Avenue. So what are the common factors that you want to see at Cityscape itself? What kind of trees? What kind of facade? What kind of colors? Again, if you just woke up from a nap and you looked around and you saw you're in your neighborhood, what are those things that can give you that look and feel? So again, just high level, what makes that house that you're going to live in feel like it's part of the community itself? We're also going to ask about density and good design. So we all know right now that the dream of home ownership is it's so expensive right now, and it's there's a whole bunch of societal reasons we're not going to get into, but we all know that, and we know that land is scarce. So how can we make sure that we can design a good density in this 15-acre lot to make sure that we have a moderate density that gives us the most number of attainable homes for folks? We want to, on these pictures, just want to make clear that we know these townhomes aren't in the area. We recognize it's mostly a single family detached right around it. But again, just thinking through, we have to make sure that we're getting as many homes of good design on this lot because there's such a need right now throughout Houston and throughout the area, throughout the country, but in Houston as well. So the question we'll ask is, how can we make slightly denser developments like townhomes or condos feel like they can belong in the neighborhood? But it's not also about the design facade. It's not about the four walls that you live in, right? How do you want to be able to get around? How do you design for a connection within the neighborhood itself? But that will be the future cityscape neighborhood, and without the immediate amenities and the other parts of District D. So making sure that there's bus stops. Is that something that's valuable to you? What about sidewalks? Is that something that's valuable? How can we build that connectivity and incorporate it into the NOFA so the developers can respond to it? So again, the question here is, how can we best connect this development that is yet to be built to assets throughout the neighborhood? And this is one of my favorite questions. How can we design cool communal spaces, green and communal spaces that are the linchpin of the neighborhood that help build community? Whether it's barbecue pits, basketball courts, soccer courts, or playgrounds like you see here on the right. What are those things that you want to see in a green space that is that cityscape? And not even just necessarily green space. As seen in this picture here of some townhomes in Sunnyside Gardens in New York, how can we design the area so that green and public spaces help bring you together as a community and reflect the community's values? And this is what we're going to spend the most amount of time here today with you as community leaders, engaging the broader community. Again, it's all about getting inclusive feedback and making sure everyone feels heard. And part of that is making sure everyone knows that they are able to give feedback. So how can we best engage the broader community to express their priorities? And here you're seeing pictures of the methods we're going to use, the in-person meetings and the social pinpoint tool. And again, the question here is, how can we best engage that broader community using those in-person tools that we're all kind of anxious to get back into the community and see you all in person, and also those online tools for folks who would like to use that method. And it doesn't have to be and or, it could be both. So if you go to those meetings and you have an idea later, you can use that social pinpoint tool to give your feedback as well. So we're winding down me talking at you. We're going to break out into the facility to the facilitated conversation shortly, but just a couple of FYIs and things to consider. Again, we are going to break out. We're going to use a tool called Google Jamboard to take your feedback on some questions that we have for you as community leaders. You're going to be matched with a facilitator and other city staff and staff from the council member. So they're city staff, everyone not facilitating are there just to hear your comments and feedback. And your facilitator will walk you through using this Jamboard tool, which is pretty intuitive. And we'll have multiple options for you to interact with so we can hear your feedback. So before we do that, a couple of things. We have some requests, some asks for you now. And one is to help us spread the word out and get folks engaged in the community. So we're going to share, again, as I mentioned, this information with you via email, this presentation, the recording, and what have you. But we also ask you to share our social media posts and let us know about community meetings where we can have a couple minutes of your agenda to talk about this engagement. Not this entire presentation, but to let folks know that it's ongoing and direct them to our website where they can learn more and find out about the community engagement meetings and the social pinpoint tool. So if, for example, you're the head of a super neighborhood, if you can give us 5 minutes on that agenda in April or May, things like that, or any other civic group. And we're going to transition away from the PowerPoint presentation in just a minute. We've developed a landing page that has all this information that I just went over, including the future dates for our in-person meetings. And that is at houstontx.gov/housing/homes/cityscape. We also have that bit.ly link here for you. I'm going to put the the link in the chat right now. So you have that now, and we're going to send that link again to you and shortly when we send that email out with this recording. And I'm going to take down the presentation real quick and actually show you that website because it is live and it's something we encourage you to bookmark and to share. Just a quick tour of this before we break out into our community, our facilitated groups. And I'm tilting a little bit to the side, so apologies. Let me bring it over here. Oh no, I gotta do it this way. Sorry. So you're gonna have to see me from the side profile for just a minute. Sorry, everyone. So the information here is again what we kind of presented together. What I want to draw your attention to here is our emailing list. And so this is live, and this
Hello.
is yes. If you could just
This is Deirdre Rashid. I'm sorry. I was having problems getting onto this meeting.
Okay, well, we are going to send the recording out to everyone, so we'll have in the presentation, so you'll have access to everything you missed before you're able to jump on just now. So thank you for jumping in, and we appreciate you jumping on and fighting through the tech issues, which we all have had access issues before in the past, so I totally get it. Right now, we're just reviewing the landing page for this development. And I was just mentioning, if you subscribe to our email list and encourage other folks to subscribe to our email list, it just pops up a box like this. And this is what we're going to use to communicate with you and the community when we have major updates. So for example, when we've secured a developer, when homes start going on sale, and even earlier than that, when the social pinpoint site is live, we're going to let everyone know we sign up for updates. We're going to keep you engaged as we get in more information. So I highly encourage you to sign up for our email list so we can get you that information as we learn it together. All this other stuff is information we went over. So the 240 homes, disaster resilient homes, energy efficient homes, the mixed income aspect, AMI levels, and the map. Right here is where the social pinpoint tool is going to go when it's live. There'll be a link, and that's going to launch in the first week of April approximately. And here you can see we've already bookmarked when we're going to have our hybrid meetings. We are just looking to secure the locations. We're working on that right now, but you can see we had them scheduled in April and through May. And so a little bit later on, once we have finalized those flyers and banners, we're going to have a section here so you can download and print those out if you'd like as well. And finally, before we go into our facilitated conversation, some current resources. If you're looking for a home now, right, if you're not looking to buy a home in 2023 or 2024, you're looking right now, the department does have down payment assistance programs that are available to you right now. That is at our HCDD Homebuyer Hub page. All of our down payment assistance programs are there now. Click on that if you are looking to buy a home anywhere within the city of Houston. We also have a great resource, the HCDD 360 Road to Home Ownership. We know again that for first-time home buyers, it's a journey to become a home buyer. If you're not quite ready yet, but you want to be ready at 2023 or 2024 to buy a home at Cityscape Avenue, this is a free resource that we've put together for you that walks you through the process of becoming a homeowner. We have videos on credit and how that's important, how to build together a realtor team, really again A to Z. So if you're looking, if you think, hey, in a year and a half from now, I think I'm gonna be ready for home ownership, or even earlier than that, this again free tool, access it, spread the word. We want to make sure everyone is able to buy a home within the city of Houston if that's what they're trying to do. So with that said, that's the end of me talking to all of y'all for now. I don't see any questions that were in the chat. So if any questions come up, let me pull up one more slide. This is our contact information. So I think some of y'all got my email from prior communications I sent to you. But if you want to reach out to me, my email address is jeremiah.rivetta@houstontx.gov, and I just put that in the chat. Or if you want to reach out to the whole team, we have a mailbox where we'll all get access to that email. That is HSFDP. Just rolls right off the tongue. That's the acronym for Harvey Single Family Development Program. And I just put that in the chat. The entire team will have access to that chat box. So with that said, I'm going to pause, and Ashley is going to start putting us into our group rooms, and then we're going to have a facilitated conversation with you. So we're going to break out now to, I think, 2 or 3 team rooms. So that's going to be, you don't have to do anything for that. Ashley's going to start bringing those out now. So before she does that, though, I want to again thank you for joining us. Again, this is the first day of the conversation going through May, so don't feel like this is the end of it. If you have any questions that pop up, definitely feel free to ask them. But we look forward to working with you to have a great community engagement meetings throughout the month of April and May.